Welcome to Nashville, Tennessee's capital city, where we love our country, our teams, our music, and our neighbors.
You can tell when there's an operation that people are involved in or not, and the Reed family is very involved in that business.
The fact that they're here and they're actually in it for the long haul, they're not here to make a quick buck. It's not about the money for them. It's about actually helping meet my needs.
That's the key to any business, is good people. And we have, great people that have been with us a long time. We all share in the same vision, the same values. We're like family.
For over 90 years, one of our best neighbors has been Jim Reed Chevrolet.
They've been in the car business since the cars were invented. I think most people resonate with a family name they can trust and a family they're used to dealing with. I'm a congressman, but I'm also a satisfied customer.
In the early 1900s, Jim Reed left his family's small-town hardware store, coming to Nashville with the dream of selling cars. In 1917, he opened Nashville's first Chevy dealership. He sold 500 cars that first year, quite a feat. Back then, there were hardly any paved roads where people could drive them.
Dad's has always been the one to do right, never tell a lie. We're always going to do good business. We never want to take something that's not ours. He's just instilled that into us always.
Well, I'm a student from Union University, and I was one of the survivors of the tornado. And when I first came to Jim Reed, they were really compassionate when I told him that I, went to Union University. They cared a lot about me and not only about selling a car.
While Jim Reed was growing, so was Nashville. A megawatt radio station downtown was broadcasting traditional American music, and across the nation, people were tuning in to keep their spirits up during the Great Depression and the war years that followed. Jim Reed spent World War II in the military, but managed to keep commerce thriving at his corner on Broadway. When the war put a stop to automobile manufacturing, he filled his showroom with auto parts so people could find what they needed to fix the cars they had. He bought old cars to recondition and resell, and actually made profits in those years, even without new cars, a lesson he would not forget.
Well, in 1973, my mom came to Jim Reed Chevrolet. She wanted a Monte Carlo. She wanted a certain color. She paid $4,871.95, and that was in 1973. Just about 2 months ago, she decided to get a new car. And so for 30 years, she has drove this car from Jim Reed, and so she handed it down to me.
Like everywhere else in America, Nashville's love affair with Chevys continued through the post-war decades. In 1963, Jim Reed, now a prominent local businessman, was instrumental in founding Nashville's first Better Business Bureau.
The auto industry is mainstream to every community, but to have the Reeds sign on the charter as, yes, this is something our community must have, because we are people of integrity and we want the consuming public to be associated and connected with an organization that is all about better business.
Through decades of change in America, Nashville participated, and Jim Reed Chevrolet remained a fixture of our downtown landscape, contributing generously to the tax base, setting and breaking sales records, and offering the sheer joy of driving a Chevy to new and returning customers. Through it all, Jim Reed remained our good neighbor.
I'd prefer to deal with a family business as opposed to a large conglomerate any time. Being treated like an individual, like a human being, not as a dollar sign.
The Jim Reed Chevrolet family in Nashville, Tennessee has demonstrated citizenship so that other businesses, peers, will come with them to a cause, and we've been the beneficiary of that also.
I was kind of in Iraq visiting my soldiers, and she was like, "You wouldn't believe what Jim Reed's doing." And I was like, "Oh, what's the problem with the car?" She's like, "No, they're giving us free oil changes while you're deployed." And I was like, "That's great." I mean, I was kind of worried about the car and whether or not she was going to be taking good care of it. And knowing that Jim Reed was going to be taking care of it, it was one less worry that I had to worry about. I kind of bragged about it a little bit and said, hey, you know, I've got things going on at home that's just great, and told them about Jim Reed taking care of the oil changes. They didn't even believe it. They were like, no way, no car dealerships do that for anybody. And I was like, yeah, Jim Reed, they're taking care of me.
Today, downtown Nashville is still the city's focal point. Even as it grows into the 21st century with new buildings and new businesses, it's only minutes from the colleges and universities that earned us our nickname, the Athens of the South. 5 blocks from Jim Reed Chevrolet, Vanderbilt University is the city's largest employer, providing jobs for nearly 20,000 of our citizens. Within the same radius are prestigious banking, legal and insurance companies, sports, entertainment and hospitality centers, Nashville's Music Row, where record labels, songwriters and musicians put out the sounds that are still making us famous, and new downtown condos that are drawing in young people as never before.
There is no more prominent real estate location in Tennessee than the Jim Reed location. It's incredible. It's located exactly between downtown Nashville and the Vanderbilt area. The Reed family, I'm sure, could turn it into skyscrapers or whatever they wanted to, but they love the car business.
And in walks Mr. Jim Reed himself. And he came over and shook my hand, and I told him, you know, how do you do it? You know, how do you still show up for work every day and look fantastic? And he said, it's easy for customers like you. And, you know, that was personal for me, because that's why I drive from Franklin, Tennessee to Jim Reed. I know I can trust what they tell me at Jim Reed. They're going to do what they say.
On any given day, 40,000 cars drive right past Jim Reed's dealership. Shouldn't those cars be Chevys? Even the competition knows this is the place to be.
We're investing our future right here on Broadway. We're building a new facility. It's an $8 million facility that we're putting up. So, yeah, we're here to stay.
You know, it is a fantastic location. You know, we're the only dealership that services the west side of Nashville. There's no other Chevy dealership that services west of here until, you know, Dixon, which is, 40, 50 miles away.
They've put their name on this company, and for many generations, when you say Jim Reed, it speaks volumes about business in Nashville.
It's the year 2010 in America, and before long, Jim Reed will soon celebrate its centennial anniversary. To Nashville, to our good neighbor Jim Reed, and to Chevrolet, many, many more happy birthdays.
We're out to be #1 in the USA. That's the reason people say Jim Reed Chevrolet. Hey, you can't do better than that. Jim Reed Chevrolet.